Hey, are you on here?
You hear me?
Yeah. What's up?
Not much.
All right, now I can see you. So let me change cameras here.
I think this way is going to be better away from the light.
Gosh, I'm too white. I need to close my curtains. Well, fuck it. So we're recording now, but we'll have probably there's some people joining us right now, and so usually like this is kind of a people join because they want to see like what's going on behind the scenes. Otherwise, it gets distributed on iTunes and all that other good stuff, and it'll be on my YouTube channel. I'll edit it. So I'll do a quick intro, and then I'll say, and we'll start the show, and then that's when I'll add in commercials afterwards and shit like that, and then we'll just start. And usually goes, half hour, 45 minutes. Just depends. Like we don't really have an agenda, and kind of the show goes where it goes. Anything in particular you want to talk about?
Just life.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, let me go out. Hey everybody, welcome to the Shoe Money Show, Skills to Pay the Bills. Of course, I'm your host, German Shoemaker, known as Shoe Money. Today I have an awesome guest, my really good friend, Gene Mikhov, who has been an industry legend in many areas, and I'm just super pumped to have him on the show. So with that, let's get the show started.
All right, glad to be on the show, man. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks so much for coming on. Gene's one of the guys I met through Elite Retreat probably like 7, 8, 9 years ago, something like that. I don't remember the exact one, but
the one that you had at Gensworth.
Oh yeah, it was in New York. That's right. And that was an expensive Elite Retreat because we didn't really. It was basically like Seth Godin said he would do it, like speak at it. And so then I was like, Ty, we need to have an Elite Retreat. And literally that's what happened. And so I didn't negotiate prices with the Gansevoort or nothing. Ty didn't negotiate much. So that one was a very expensive Elite Retreat. I think I bought everyone iPads that went to that, didn't I?
I don't think so. I'm not sure about that one.
I don't know. I don't remember. That one, I met a lot of great people. I got to say, even though it was expensive and I lost probably 30, 40 grand on that one, the people I met at that one were super key, like going forward. Because there was a guy named Mike Peters at Software Projects who I made a ton of money with him. And then, of course, you. And then John Carell, who I've done business with in the past and is just a brilliant guy. And I think Mark's another guy, Mark Colasiopo. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen him lately. And so, Gene, if you don't mind, just for our listeners, viewers, a lot of people know this isn't like a how to make money online podcast. I get lumped in with that group, but it's more like me talking to other successful entrepreneurs, internet marketers, and just shooting the shit. So, but if you don't mind, just give us a little bit about your background, how you got to be the internet mogul that you are, the mad Russian.
The crazy Russian.
I'll let you go from there.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 15 years, and it's funny how actually we got into the business. I got into the online marketing business as a result of WorldCom going bankrupt. Because just right before that, we launched an e-commerce site to sell cell phone service, and I was doing, customer acquisition and just learning how to drive traffic and buy CPAs. And then WorldCom went out of business and stiffed us for like $250,000. And this is long time ago. And so we understood a little bit about marketing. We saw opportunities, just got into it. And just through doing deals and learning and working with different people, just got into every aspect of affiliate marketing, from customer acquisition, running email, running an affiliate network, creating our own offers, having a call center, everything under the sun we've done at one point. And, now I'm thinking about what's next and what to focus on in the future, where things are going, and just build something, that could be like a legacy project.
Yeah, it's similar how we're in the same positions. I mean, I'm in a very similar position in kind of looking for something that I don't really want to start anything new myself. And after the blog ninja thing is great, it works well. It's but it's one of those things where after I got outside my circle and started paying a lot for traffic, it just wasn't cost effective. So from a me making money perspective on it, like, it will do what it does. It's a great place. It's a great resource for me, just to give to people who, do want to get started making money online. Because I know we all get that question all the time. So from that perspective, it's really good for that. But yeah, I mean, otherwise I'm in a position where I don't feel like starting anything new myself. I've had, this is just me personally, I've met with some companies, and one I'm going to start like a 90-day thing with. And, I think, you, me, there's a lot of people that, we can add such value to an existing company. And this one that I'm talking with is a decent portion of equity, and, and just doing stuff like that allows me to also, I've always had my own stuff where I can't sleep at night. I've always, you're spending so much money per day on traffic, all that stuff. And I brought this up a couple times, just like slimming down. I had 8 corporations. Only about 3 were actually being used. And so I had, I closed 13 bank accounts. One, it was up or down from that. And I still have more to close. And right now I'm all about simplifying everything, getting back to where I actually like monitor my financials. And it's been exciting, like getting back to that point and wrapping up things and whatnot. So it's rough, but you know how volatile this industry is.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly just tired of the volatility of having my own thing, and just so it's fun and it's cool, like just to be like a brand ambassador to a company and leverage your contacts, to be able to speak. And it's yeah. So I think like that's where I mean, you have a ton to offer a company, because I would say you're more well-rounded, and I don't mean physically.
Well, and as well-rounded as you get, you also figure out that there's certain things you just don't want to do. That's kind of been, my approach over the last 5 years. As I learned about certain businesses, I just didn't want to be in it. And I want to keep moving towards actually producing really quality content, doing marketing for great companies, and using marketing and those skills to actually, like you said, maybe partner up with the right company, but work with the right type of company and not have a lot of those headaches that come from running a lot of your own things. Especially in this industry, from what I'm seeing right now, a lot of people that are really doing well right now, it's essentially the same thing that was ringtones and then rebuilds and then other aspects of the business. And just like with the stock market, people are being careless. And I think once we have some shakeup in the actual economy, it's going to set a lot of companies, shaking out.
Yeah, one of the companies I was talking to, and they made me a really good offer, but it's just not a good fit for me. Is without giving away who it is, it's a very big hedge fund that has got an IT, or that has got a startup wing, and I mean, they were showing me their graph where they have all these lines of, they do about 95% is pure automated trading, and their returns have been ridiculous over the last 15 years. I would anyway. So I want to get the hedge fund guy. Oh, I should just say his name. His name's Robert Pardo. He was, if you look up his Wikipedia, he's credited as inventing automated trading.
Wow.
I think it's like, I want to say 17% in average return since like late 90s, but it's just my company calls it a shoe money ballpark fact, where it's like it's somewhere in around there. So take that with you will. You can look it up. But anyway, they've got this really cool thing that they're working on, and they brought me into it, but I don't think I'm the right person to fulfill the role that they want. I think they need someone to sort out and lead, and I'm more the guy, boots on the ground. Like, once you know, and you have they want me to build a team basically around the marketing, and that's not me. So they were really generous with their offer, and but it's just not me. But I found another one that is a good opportunity that I'll reveal, probably not for several months, just because it's I don't know, like, it's one of those things where you do like a 90-day thing, make sure everything fits and everything before you want to like announce like you're really into something. But I mean, there's opportunities out there, and I think one thing that you said about, like the rebuilds, it's just like the internet marketing community as a whole has just, I don't know, it just burned me out. And I don't know your opinion on that, but it's just.
Absolutely. I also got burned out because, and it's the same thing actually in different communities, just we're in the internet marketing communities. I think it's very similar to like the Silicon Valley. They just play with more zeros, but it's also a lot of like BS. Same thing with real estate. I think it's just a lot of these industries that don't mature at the right time kind of, don't go further. And I think as you get older, as you look at your children, you really want to be part of something that's like challenging and then you can be proud of. And, I know children are big for you. You love your girls and you spend a lot of time. And same thing with my son. As he was growing up, I was looking at him and just figuring out what is it that, I really could do that I can be proud of, that, daddy makes a lot of money, but, I wanted to have more than just that. Something that, so he becomes, the best that he can be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like I wrote a book, and I wrote that people read it and they see how it's very, very graphic and explicit and vulgar, I guess, at times. But it's me like being very, very vulnerable, with my lowest points and of my life and other things. And so I wrote that actually for my kids, and people would laugh at that if they just read it because of all the obscenities and stuff in there. But someday they'll read it, and it has like the real me of like, I always saw angles, and I just had that gift that I was born with. And when I was younger, it got me into a lot of trouble because I would see angles that were not exactly legal, and yeah, so. Got in a bit of trouble, it's all in the book, but without going too far into that, it's one of those, like you talk about your kid's legacy. And that's also like when I did, I promoted a lot of shit and I've made a lot of money. My biggest windfall was auction ads. I recently sold the PAR program, which, wasn't a full cash deal. So that sounds a lot sexier at 12 million than it was. Well, we'll see. We'll see what the parent company sells for someday that I have stock in. But anyway, for me, like it is legacy time. And I mean, I've sold auction ads. I had the PAR program. And when I say like legit companies, like those were my two legit companies, right? Those are my two big windfalls. But when it comes to like probably where I've made more money was, you know, on the stuff you talked about, like the free trials plus shipping, ringtones. I was my bread and butter. When that industry, I hit that right in stride. I had a site that was the site to go to, and as soon as those offers came out, I was very fortunate to have the authoritative site in the world of ringtones when all those ringtone offers came out. So, but you know, with that said, like, would I want my mom to buy most of the stuff that I've made a lot of, probably half of my money on the internet? No. You know, like this diet crap or, you know, ringtone stuff. Now, I don't feel bad about it, but, you know, everyone, they're free to make up their own mind. But I hear what you're saying about legacy stuff. And that's why, like, being a part of something big is sexy to me at this point. Because my kids, I mean, they're, you know, like when your kids until like 5 or so, I don't know, for me, like, you know, they're around and shit and I take them places and stuff, but you can't really have like a very in-depth conversation with them. Whereas mine are 10 and 8 now. And it's like my 10-year-old, especially, like, I'm so impressed with, you know, just you can actually have like a conversation. And I think there's a small window there.
Yeah.
Before they're out of the house. How old is your boy?
He's 12. He's actually going on 13. And until he was 8 years old, everything was, you know, like, it was fine in the respect that I didn't even pay attention to it. But I remember this moment when I realized that unless I'm going to become a different person, a better person, he's going to become just the worst copy of me. You know, and there's a lot of that goes into it. I'm not saying like I'm a bad person, but I've done a lot of stupid stuff, and, you know, like with marketing, promoted a lot of things that, once again, like, I'm not losing sleep over it, but I'd rather do something, especially to the fact that I understand that I could be doing better, than like promoting for-profit education. Like, that was like my ringtones, and we made a killing on for-profit education, just free money, and we monetize it through the job sites and through the call center, and, you know, it's education. How can you go wrong with that? But at the same time, I feel that with what I know today, I'd rather focus and promote your type of program or do marketing for like little things. I run a little bit of traffic for little things, and I love what Alex and Joe are doing because, you know, they're sharing good stories. There's absolutely nothing not positive about, you know, getting more people to view those stories, and the advertising money that comes from it, I feel, is really clean and good money, and they're great guys. So I feel great running traffic for little things and like sharing their story, because I feel that the consumers are getting the value. There's the entertainment factor. The stories itself are, a lot of them, entertaining and moving, and just, you know, it's a really good business model.
Yeah, it's amazing how Joe and Alex always have impressed me. And I was a 50-50 owner in a business with them that didn't work out. And then we still, it didn't work out because we're both busy with other shit. That's happened in like 3 partner businesses I've had with friends. And, you know, it was just like, it sounded great. It was a great idea, but neither of us really had time to do it. And that was the situation with them. And actually, that one was my fault because I kind of talked him into doing it. And in the end, you know, I made it right with him and whatever. Well, you know, with Alex,
Yeah.
he's good, you know, and we remain, you know, he's a good guy, shrewd business guy, very smart, and well, you can't really do well in business, you know, without I don't know if shrewd's the right word, but he's very, very good. I don't know.
There's no point. He's very fair, but he's at the same time just kind of on top of things, and he doesn't do things just for the sake of everything is equitable. It makes sense. This is what it is to do business, and I think a lot of it comes also from experience. And his father is a great businessman, from what I heard, and just you grow up with this. You understand how to do things a certain way. It works for you, and I think me and you come from a little bit different background. So I think we're more generous when it comes to certain things, and just more, feeling
right.
Versus, hey, it's 3% here because that's just how it is.
Right. So we haven't said Alex's last name, but it's Alex Zarnowski, and I just want to tell a quick story. I've never really told this before, and I'm pretty sure he'd be okay with it. Which is basically we went into business together for fighters.com, which was a site. We acquired the domain for a very good price, and I kind of ran it, and I ended up spending all our money on like sponsorships and what I would have done, right, if it was all my money anyway. And we ran out of cash, and I threw in some more cash, and they weren't excited about contributing any more cash. And so it got to the point where I called them up one day, and I said, hey, you don't want to put any more cash in this. I really believe in it. I want to buy you out for like twice as much as he had put in. And he's I don't know how to say this, but anyway, it ended up, he convinced me on that call, instead of buying him out for, let's just say $200,000. It was a shoe money ballpark fact. Okay. It was somewhere in that range. He ended up talking me into, instead of me buying him out for $200,000, he ended up buying me out for like $50,000. I don't know how that worked. There's probably a non-disclosure in there that I just shattered. But that's just, but he actually, everything he said made sense, because he was like, Jeremy, you're not a CEO. Like let's be honest here. Like you're not this, you're going to buy me out. And then what are you going to do with it? You're going to keep doing what you're doing and this and, whatever. And, that was back in the day. I had so much revenue coming in. I lost a bunch of cash trying a bunch of different things, but I had, that was back when you had 6-10 grand profit a day. I mean, it was like, yeah, I lost 50 grand on this, 100 grand on this, whatever, so anyway, like that's the kind of guy he was. Is just, I was pissed at first because I'm like, man, how did I do that? Like, how did he talk me into that? But reflecting on it, like he was 100% right. And it actually took me years after that to actually come to the grips of the fact that he was way more right than I actually thought at that time. So I should actually tell him that, because he probably thinks I'm pissed at him still about that. But I was never mad at him. I was just, it was just one of those things that it was like, I didn't agree with, but I did. And I ended up selling to him. And I don't know what he did with it. I mean, I know it's still running, but I don't know. I don't know how that worked. But the story of him, and you mentioned Little Things, that started out as the pet thing.
Yeah.
So it started out as the pet company where you would order dog food, and it was like a subscription dog food. It would be delivered to your house.
Yeah.
And then, now if I remember this chain of events right, and then they turned it into where the blog, where they noted they were sharing pictures of, in stories of, and got a huge Facebook following. And then took that concept into Little Things. Am I remembering that? Am I telling that right?
Yeah. They pivoted at one point because one of their main marketing channels became social media, and they would creating a lot of content to fuel the blog, which then started making more money than the actual site.
Yeah. He showed me the revenue one time and how it was all like 98% Facebook traffic, and it was going to the blog on that site.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was he was like, it's like the old days of arbitrage stuff. I think that's pretty much what he said. And it blew me away of like, wow, it's really interesting stuff. And that's the power of Facebook and finding people's passion.
Yeah.
What's your, I think that's a fair thing. Okay. I got to get Alex on the show sometime.
Absolutely. Tell us about the Zuckerberg picture. I know you have a picture with Mark Zuckerberg.
With Zuckerberg? It's actually, can you see it on my wall?
No.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Right there. And then the AdSense check is above it. Right above it. So my two, it's so funny. My office is like a shrine to me. You can see my Obama like thing up there.
Yeah.
And then you can see like over here, I have my Fast Company cover. Anyway, and there's more. So it just reminds me how awesome I am. But so yeah, Alex is fascinating, and the Zuckerberg thing is funny, and it's actually even funnier when I put that picture, and he didn't want to take a picture with me, and he and then I caught him in the bathroom, and he, I there's a couple components to the story, but anyway, I saw his penis, because he was leaning back when he peed, and I always tell people, like, would you have looked? Because I looked. I'm just saying, I looked. And then in the bathroom, he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, about that picture thing. Like, my people are so protective of me. They think it could be used for like the wrong purposes and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't. So in that picture, I just put exploiting this picture for profit since 2000, whatever it was. That was the first TechCrunch Awards. TechCrunch 40 was what it was called. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I was more on like the wild west on the internet back then.
They had this guy called Fake Steve Jobs. I don't know if you remember his blog. It was always really funny. And everybody always there was this big debate about who it was, and it ended up being like this New York Times reporter, or people had kind of narrowed it down. And then once people figured it out, it was really funny. And if you go back and you look at the TechCrunch 40 was originally Mike Arrington and Jason Calacanis together. So they had a TechCrunch 40, which was 40 companies came and pitched on a stage, and they had a stage of, super angel investors like Ron Conway, and who's like the super angel investor, and like other kind of like a Shark Tank way before Shark Tank. And these people would ask questions, and just like Shark Tank, of 40 companies, like 15 a day, or I guess 20 a day for 2 days. And then the next year they did, but the cool thing about that was there was a big demo pit. And so the demo pit would have like 50 companies both days. And so it was super awesome. And they had an award show, which I got invited to be a part of the press corps. Mike Arrington always took care of me. He was just always like really good to me. And I think it was because of all the legal, he's a lawyer, and first, and then it's people don't really know that about Mike Arrington founded TechCrunch and stuff before it sold AOL. Anyway, he always, I think it was because he would always ask me about my legal cases, and the case with Google in particular. He would write me and ask me, things, and he's very interesting guy, but quirky, like really quirky, kind of like not quite Howard Hughes, but like, he'll never see this anyway. I mean, it's not like he's peeing in mason jars and putting him outside his room, but he's definitely odd. Like, I'll see him in person, and he'll be like, "Oh, how's this? How's what the Google end up case?" And I'll be like, "Oh, this," and he's like, "All right, now what I'm gonna tell you is shut the fuck up and walk over there." And I'm like, okay. And he's like, don't be telling people that kind of stuff. Okay. And I just would like turn around. I mean, he just would go like from Mr. Like I went to his house one time with Neil Patel, and I'm out back talking to his Crunch. They used to have Crunch Gear back then, where they would review products, and so I'm talking to his guy, and we're talking about how to grow it, and I'm saying, have you ever thought about doing something viral, like, here's a product they did everything from vibrators. I mean, like there was nothing they wouldn't. I mean, literally, if you go through there was a lot of anything anyone sent them, they would write a review about. And I mean, I remember Eric Schoenfield, or one of their premier writers, wrote about like how much his wife loved this vibrator. I mean, literally, so TechCrunch has become very professional Arrington, if people remember back then, he would light companies up, and I loved it. And that's why TechCrunch, everyone loved it back then, is because he just would let it go and give his real opinions on companies. And this one's shitty, and this one's this. But he had like true journalist instinct, where he would hold his journalists to the fire if they didn't get everything right. But he definitely was fine with people conscious. Anyway, so I'm at his house talking to his guy. I come up with this strategy of like, why don't you just give it away to people anyone who comments or shares or whatever. I don't think there was sharing and shit back then, but it was like, I was like, just comments and interacts. Like, why don't you just give whatever you're reviewing away for everyone who makes a comment? And he was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. So then, everyone went every day to make a comment, and it was really cool. So I leave there, and I was there for like 2.5 hours. Leave there, come on the way back, and Mike Arrington texts me and says, what, you fucking can't say hi? You come to my house and you fucking can't say hi? And he was literally in a bathrobe in an office, and I passed him. And he's very intense. And so he's looking like, just like staring at his computer thing. And so I didn't want to bother him. And so I was like, dude, I didn't, and especially I don't like to be like, I know I'm a jackass, like with Mark Zuckerberg, right? Like, I don't give a fuck. I'll just Paris Hilton, whatever. I'll roll up and ask for a picture. I'll bug the fuck out of him, right? I'll tell him some sad story, whatever, to get a picture with him. But like guys like him, guys I respect in the industry, like I don't want to be that guy, that fucking annoying guy in the industry. So, I just told him, I said, well, I don't want to be that guy that, is fucking annoying and whatever. And he was like, well, he said something else. But anyway, quirky guy. But so we can talk about, we're on Below Deck. Yeah. We can talk about it.
Let's talk about it. That was amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm glad that we can actually say now that we were on it. And I've been told, like, because I've shared that I've been like the one drilling back and forth with because I think I bug them about every other day about when, because the way they tell us it was going to be like early August, like late July, early August.
Right.
They were going to air our episode. So we've all, at least I've been on like the edge of my seat, because I'm like, okay, what's up? They're wrapping up this season of Mediterranean. And, like when is, and then I'm hearing from, these celebrity bloggers that I know, Andy Lou's got some people at Buddy TV and whatever. And they're like, well, they'll never do a back-to-back thing. They'll probably squeeze in like a Housewives or something in there. And then you're probably looking at like November. And I was like, fuck, that's a long time. Well, they're wrong, because I don't think Bravo's doing anything. For those who haven't seen that preview, I think I feel comfortable saying that when we got on, they told us that we need to make sure that we utilize, the water stuff and all that, because the previous guests had not. And we really have to be careful what we say, because we're not allowed to like give away specifics. But we did. We did a lot. And But if you watch that preview, it looks like a lot of things happened that season. So I think it's going to be a very good season. I think it's, like after this Mediterranean season they're having right now is horrific. And that's the original one they invited me when they wrote to my blog to do. And I sent it to Robin. I was like, they gave us like 2 weeks notice. And I was like, guys, this sounds cool, but I can't get together. And really, it didn't come down to me not wanting to do it. It came down to me not wanting to put it together and then have to, go to my friends and get all the logistics figured out and all that shit. So, and that was for the season that's just wrapping up now. And so, thank God I didn't do that, or we didn't do that, because, well, maybe we'd have saved the season. I have no idea. But this season's horrible, like horrible. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun. So John Chow shoots me an email one day and says, "Hey, do you want to go on a TV show?" And I said, "Let me guess, it's Below Deck." And he's like, "How did you know?" And I said, "Because I gave her your email, because she asked me if I knew anyone that wanted to do it." But I said, "Dude, I will definitely do it. I don't want to be the coordinator for it. I don't have time to do all this stuff." So I get on it, and my wife wants to go really bad because she's like, "Well, you're taking this vacation without me?" So I'm like, "Okay, I'll take you with." Well, then my wife comes to grips of this is a television show, right? So she's scared. Now all of a sudden, when it gets real, it gets real. And all of a sudden, she's super scared and wants any reason to get out of it. So she's like, "I don't know my work, whatever." And I'm like, "You told me you had all this time off and you were so excited." Well, so then after that, I called the man, the myth, the legend, who I knew would have a passport and down to party and do something like this.
Yeah.
Gene Mikhov. So I'm so glad you could go, because I'm so glad my wife didn't go. I mean, you know how it went. And my wife is an anesthesiologist, does not like any attention, like drawn to her, is scared as shit for when she hasn't even shared my Facebook post about we're going to be on the show. Like all these other people have shared it. My wife would prefer nobody in Lincoln, like they black out Lincoln, Nebraska. So when my book came out, she was like, "Can we get Amazon to not sell it to anyone in Lincoln?" So my wife likes to lie low. I'm completely the opposite and quite the publicity whore. And I was so pissed when I saw the promo. And for those who haven't seen it, if you go to Below Deck, or just Google like Below Deck season 4, it's the promos on Bravo's site. And I hope they're going to come out with some more promos, because they only showed like one shot of us.
Like a quarter of a second.
Yeah, and to be honest, out of everything that happened, they show that. I mean, I guess I just was, I don't know. I actually really believe that we're gonna come off like complete jackasses, and I don't really care.
We had an interesting group: American, Russians, Europeans, Asians.
Say that again.
I said we had a very interesting group from all different sides of the world.
Yeah, and when he says, "Can I see your V?" It's funny because Anna thought he said TV at first, and actually, like, it just buzzed by me, and I was just like, "What? I'm not in it." And you're in it, right? You're in that shot.
Yeah, my back is in it.
Yeah, close enough. And then, okay, was that? We can't say what happened, but was that before or after our craziest event happened?
After.
Okay, so that was when I was down getting the blood off of something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so we'll leave you with that.
There's blood.
Yeah, I had to go down, and one of the camera guys saw me and said, you got to go down to medical. I mean, that's one thing that they were really good about was like everything. You okay? You okay? And I remember there was a couple other incidents. I was impressed with that, but I guess there were some things I was surprised they let us do, and some things I got yelled at about. But I had the time of my life. I mean, that was top 10, like experiences for me. Top 10 life experience so far. I don't know where you put it, but
yeah, it's definitely in the top 10, maybe even top 5.
yeah, I would go with that. I mean, my marriage, I don't know, that was cool, but it was, like it was what my wife wanted and stuff. So if we're going on top 5, I would say the Azuga Playboy party was insane. That was crazy. And man, there's I mean, my kid being born was not a great experience. I was scared out of my mind. I swear to God. Like, I was just like, what did I do? Like, I just never viewed myself as a father, like, ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. That probably sounds shitty to say, but it's the truth. Like, I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And I remember my wife was like, you can hold her. And I was like, what? I mean, like, I literally was just like, shit, it's real. It's really going to happen. So I don't know. But when I turned 40, like you talked about, you came one day, you just had this thing. When I turned 40, it really made me look at like, what am I doing? And am I really happy doing what I'm doing? And that's the start of like the consolidation that's happened. And it's taken a while to wind down, but probably will take until the first of the year to really, really, really get to the point I want. But it's good. It's slowly but surely happening. And yeah.
Well, if you had all the money in the world right now, what would you be working on? What would you be doing? Like if somebody would just write a check for 10 million and said, Jeremy, I like you, I trust you, take this 10 million, do whatever you would like, just bring me back 50 in 5 years.
So how much do I get?
10 million.
Just 10 million? Okay. So if I had $10 million, I actually don't think I would do a thing different. I'm trying to think of like what I don't think I would do anything different. I have this lifelong friend who listens to the show sometime that he doesn't even know. I got plans someday to do. He literally saved my life, and I would never have met my wife if it wasn't for him and other stuff. So when I can, I like to take care of him. So a couple of things for it would honestly like it's probably if you had all the money in the world, I think you would. I don't want to speak for you, but I know you, and I don't think I would do a thing different for my life, but I would do it for others. That's just, yeah. I mean, my first impressions is, I would do, like I'd buy my parents, like a $2 million house or something like that, or not not in Lincoln, Nebraska, like $500,000 house, or even where they're at or something like that. I don't know. Because, I mean, that's like if it just came into my lap disposable, that was post-tax, then I'd probably do, I don't know, just probably about 20, 30% of it I'd spend on my friends, just like take vacations, hire them because they, so they can get out of their grind jobs. I don't know. What about you?
I want to do like a network for people to learn certain skills, like skills to pay the bills, and just create good content and educate more people on how to pay bills, how to live better lives, how to make money from different things. I think there's a lot of ways to make money, and for someone like us, like we know so many ways to make money. We choose not to do certain things just because of whatever reasons. But a lot of people just don't have a clue, and they're so into their kind of universe that they are not even aware of opportunities that are out there, and a lot of opportunities that they come across turn out to be bullshit. And so, I really want to spend some time building something like a network platform where people work together, share information, make money together. That's kind of, what I'm thinking about. And I've been working towards that.
Yeah. I kind of created that with the Elite Retreat alumni, I think, but I got to do another event sometime.
I actually just sent you some venue that
I know. How many people does that sleep?
I think like 20, but we can find other places to sleep people. We can even set up like something cool on the grounds, especially if we do it during the right season, because it's got bells and whistles, and something like that could be really like the real, take it up a notch.
Yeah, I got some crap on my arm. I just noticed from the camera. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, so I think like what you were. I mean, like it sounds like what makes you happy is not apart from family and stuff, but it's kind of like helping others be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you I mean, the things that dishearten me the most is when like I will hands-on help somebody and and like literally make them money, just like do like watch this. Okay, take your wallet out, take your credit card out, do this, and then do this. Just arbitrage something simple. And that's how you do it. And they're like, oh. And then like a week later, they'll be like, can you show me that again? And I'm always like, gosh, there's just like this whole make money online thing is so sexy to everyone. And now it's just such a shit cesspool that I just really want no part of even I kind of just want no part of even being associated with it. That if you want, like my blog back in the day was super helpful to a lot of people. I know that, and was very inspiring to a lot of people. And I never sold a product. And I actually, if I could take everything back, I probably would have never created the Shoe Money system, even though I made a lot of money with it. I think that started to put me in the guru like space of making money online. When that was right after I sold auction ads and stuff like that. So anyway, that's I don't know that I wouldn't do anything different, but I don't like that put me in the arena. And yeah, I created a quality product and stuff, but now like if you do things, I don't care who you are, it's like all of a sudden everyone's calling scam, and it's just such a nasty like cesspool. And you see it on forums and whatnot. And there's a guy, Nicky Cakes. I don't know if you know him. He used to have a blog that was kind of like a satirical, funny blog about. He's a very successful affiliate marketer, and he partakes in some forums where there's a lot of shit talkers and whatever. And I posted in this one about something that actually would help people, and they always kind of go down to personal attacks on me, which is whatever. I put myself out there. I talk shit, feel free. And, and there was this guy on there that was like, you don't give value. You do this, you don't blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I didn't say anything back. And then Nicky Cakes come in and he's like, listen, you will never make any money. And 99% of the people on this forum will never make any money. And the simple fact is because you're not willing to do the work. And that's why we're able to make so much money. And I was like, wow, like it's so true. Of all the people on all these forums, it's even less than 1% of people actually want to. They just keep buying products and products and products, thinking one's going to be the magic bullet.
There is no magic bullet. It's all hard work, sleepless nights, and you know, a lot of grinding, a lot of trial and error, and grinding.
Right.
There's no magic bullet.
Yeah, I mean, even people that see me, even when I was making the most money in my life, I was like partying like the most ever in my life. And people would see me like, just twice a month, just all these crazy venues, crazy parties, girls all over me, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, my wife's a very secure person and knows like I'm not banging no broads. But I mean, just craziness at strip clubs, at whatever. And people were like, gosh, that guy is just always partying, whatever. He just makes money while he sleeps. And like my wife would be like, you're never available to do anything. You're always glued to your computer. And I explained it to her as I said, there's a money tree in our backyard and I'm shaking it right now as long as I'm willing to work, as long as I'm willing to shovel and wheelbarrow it out. And it's not always going to be there. And that was really like the glory days of my ringtone stuff. And I'm really glad that I worked as hard as I did during that time. But I mean, like, that was a very scary time because I was, the site was filled with copyrighted content. And I had threats from actually at that elite retreat in New York. I had a threat from, I want to say it was Virgin Records, and they came strong at me. And my lawyer, Troy, which I got to get him on here sometime. He said to me, remember that day we put all this stuff together and everything in case something happens? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, this is really bad. And I was like, gosh. So there for a while at Elite Retreat, I didn't, I would have my poker face, but I was really worried. And in a sheer fate of irony, at the Gansevoort, where that's kind of the place to go in New York when we were there anyway.
Yeah.
On top was a guy named Aaron Baker who didn't even know about Elite Retreat, nothing. But I've known Aaron Baker for a very long time. He was one of the executives at Pepper Jam before they sold, and then he went on to he was at Intrinsic before Intrinsic when they went public. Okay, so anyway, he was a executive at Intrinsic in New York City. So he happened to be at the Gansevoort up there, and I was like, and he's like, how's it going? I'm like, oh, dude, like this record company is coming after me. I don't know, like what I'm gonna do. It sucks, man. And he was like, what record company? And I said, I think it was Virgin Atlantic, something like that. And he said, oh, I know the CEO over there. Let me text him. And he texts him, and he says, hey, my friend has this ringtone site. He doesn't actually have content on his site. He's driving it to the ringtone offer that you guys have, which wasn't the case, actually. But I texted Dave, my guy at that time, and I said, hey, remove all content and send it all to this offer. And so I wrote back, and he said, and the guy wrote back to Aaron and said, okay, I don't see that being a problem. I'll handle it. And so I had Dave remove all the content and point it to this offer. And then I wrote them back, and I said, I think there's a mistake. And actually I talked with, this guy, their CEO, and they said, okay, thanks. And I was like, woo. So from that day forward, I took all the content off that site. And I'm like, okay, I've made so many millions of dollars from this site. It's time. It's time to shut it down. So it's really it was one of those things where I literally thought, because when they sue you, even though you have this corporate veil and all this stuff, they still come at you personally.
Yeah.
And yeah, a court could decide after you've spent, like my attorneys have structured my companies and corporations and everything, and so they're set up properly and limit risk and liability, because you can be sued for anything, obviously. So, but at the end of the day, like with my Facebook case, or sorry, with the case with the Google AdWords thing, like, we settled, and I'm happy with that. But I really would have liked to taken that one to a decision, but that would have meant millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars, and probably it would just be getting over about now. That's probably like a 10-year plus case. So anyway, that was my little story with them. But I don't know. I mean, like, from an emerging market perspective, I had a guy on the show, Brent Porcelli. I always fuck up his last name. Anyway, Brent something. Look up his name on there. He doesn't do like online advertising per se, but he does like weekly Snapchats, and he has a huge sports training company, and they sell DVDs of his stuff. And actually, he was a Shoe Money System buyer, and then we had coaching and mentoring, which he took advantage of. And he bought like a very high-end package. I think it was like $12,000, and went through it all, which I felt really uncomfortable about doing at the time, for that much money. But, when you meet people with these success stories, you're like, that's really all they needed, so he's one of those guys, and he, I was impressed that that's literally, I honestly don't use Snapchat. I've never really used it. You?
I'm just starting to use it now because my son is using it. So I'm doing a lot of things just because his generation is doing it. I'm still a little bit not lost by it, but it's like instant. There is like no interactions unless it's private. It's like I like Instagram more, and I love Facebook. I think Facebook has been kind of where my universe is. I'm still learning Snapchat. It's
Yeah. I found some cool recent tricks with Facebook that I stopped. I think I showed you what I was doing. And I'm waiting for like the right thing to do it with. But it's Facebook is always interesting me, the advertising part of it. And we both know a guy that we know who is a very humble guy and wouldn't be comfortable, I'm sure, with me saying, but he spent a lot of money Facebook advertising at the same time I did. And I think me and him were, I don't know who was spending more, but I know that we were like within the top 5 biggest advertisers, we were spending the most money on advertising on Facebook. I was spending about $60,000 to $90,000 a day. I know he was spending a lot as well. So I would meet him at Facebook headquarters all the time, and we'd sit down with whoever, and Zuckerberg would be on his desk, and it was just so open back then. And they had just kegs of beer all over the place. And one of my friends who was working there, Alex Schultz, who is now at Facebook, he was at Facebook then. He was with eBay before when we had auction ads, and then he went to Facebook. And so Alex was basically, to get a glass of beer, you have to push your badge, and then it allows you to pour beer. And it's funny because it takes your picture, and Facebook had this private group where it would upload the picture, and then it would have off to the right like approximate blood alcohol levels of the employees. And so Alex was, of course, off the charts because me and the other guy and another guy were all using his badge. And so it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Facebook is now like its own country. I think Zuckerberg could, wage war. He's got more people than China.
It's crazy. It's literally, and the thing is the advertising, monetizing methods that we discussed when I was there, they still haven't done them. And I'm sure I signed a non-disclosure agreement when I was there, but everyone I know there is gone now. But when I was there, they had this roadmap. Mark Zuckerberg hates ads and hates any ads in Facebook. And that's why, like, he always talks about the user experience and how the feed is like the number one thing. And those of you who's advertised, you see like all of a sudden your stuff starts happening when you're anyway. And you really have to be almost like a recognized big brand if you want any sort of lifespan advertising on Facebook now, because they keep such a quality score. Not saying like mine's not quality, but it's recognized brands are just higher quality. You're going to get a higher quality score because users know them. So anyway, my basically my thing was with that. So Zuckerberg hates ads on the inside of Facebook. So the roadmap that they had laid out at this meeting I was at, Zuckerberg was actually showing, Google's revenue of like 98% of it was coming from AdSense on people's website, right? You can look up, and it wasn't 9. It was like, that's the Shoe Money ballpark fact again. If you look up their because they're publicly traded, it shows the breakdown of their earnings, but a big portion of it was coming from Google AdSense, and not search, but people who ran on their sites. And so anyway, what I'm getting to is their vision roadmap was that they would have an external ad network. So imagine if Facebook would replace AdSense on websites, and the targeting capabilities that the advertisers would have is huge.
They should implement it.
Well, I mean, that was 2010. So, I mean, I bought Facebook stock. I've done well with it. I'm still in and I don't like the market unless I like the company. So I got an Amazon. I've done well with Amazon unless I really see like what they're working on, and not like insider information, but I guess in that case, maybe, I don't know, that was before they went public, but I don't know if that was insider information. I don't want to get in trouble, but I'll just say, like, based on that, I would go and I'm reading.
I think they're, from what I'm seeing, I think they're working towards that. It's just, instead of giving their feed like AdSense to the bloggers and the sites, I think they want to create more of a platform inside of Facebook where you as a content creator, because at the end of the day, all the websites are just content creators, curators. So I think what you will have is inside Facebook, you will be able to monetize your engagement and interest by putting out content, and they're doing this with certain celebrities right now. I think people are going to be more on the platform without even leaving it. It's going to take a little bit of a bite from AdSense business.
So like you mean like inside, like with fan pages and stuff, or
where they'll be in app, where there's almost like a native platform where you're consuming content from all of these providers, like Little Things, and instead of it going to Little Things website, it's the content inside of Facebook that's also through native ads and through various advertising just integrated into it. I've heard recently they signed like 50 million worth of deals with like Rock and just celebrities to monetize their engagement.
Yeah, I wanted to mess with there's a couple of huge opportunities right now. They've opened up the advertising API to do like quizzes and stuff, which I know some people that are crushing that. And also the lead gen, new thing that
some lead gen campaigns, and it's working beautifully. And
awesome. Well, we've gone like a while here. We should wrap it up. So any departing words, any words of wisdom for people out there? We do have one question from Tiffany. And she talks about there's a place to look up. Let me see if I have that real quick. Look up trending things on Amazon. So go ahead though, Gene. Do you have any Okay, I found it. It's Amazon. Well, this is one, Tiffany, and I'm not sure. I know we gave out a couple URLs on the thing that because Russell's in there doing this all the time. That's one that I look at a lot. So there's an Amazon what they call movers and shakers, and then they've got some other things too, but it's ones that like it shows you like this one thing is up 53,000%. Its sales rank is 186. It was 99,000, and then it's got other things, so you can really see like I know a lot of people that started their own Amazon store and are doing really well, and they're just arbitraging. They're just buying things. One guy I know buys things at Sam's Club and resells them on Amazon.
Wow.
It's crazy because Amazon's so big. He looks for products that are not on Amazon or not Amazon Prime. And then what he does is he buys a lot of them and puts them into Amazon's fulfillment center. So they're now a part of, because when I buy stuff on Amazon, I don't buy it if it's not Prime because I want it tomorrow. And so I always filter out anything that's not, I just check the thing on the left-hand side that says like, only Prime. So like what he'll do is he'll look for, trends and searches and e-commerce stuff or just, I guess not e-commerce, but commerce in general. And then look at Amazon and see like, does that product there? And if it is it in Amazon Prime where you can send it to Amazon Fulfillment, and then they'll send it out via Prime. So I mean, I think that opportunity is just on the cusp too, because I know this guy's doing. I mean, he doesn't buy everything at Sam's Club. That's a different guy. This other guy I know is doing well over 100,000 a month in profit in the vertical he's in, and he literally stumbled into it. It's just not, now he had money to start, but I mean, it's all relative. To somebody, if you've only got $500, then making $2,000 is a lot, right? So it's like for him, to spend $1 million and profit 100,000, you got it's all in perspective, right? So it's all relative. So yeah, depending on the position you're in, I mean, there's a lot of like guides on exactly how to do stuff. People just think that, I just got to buy, this next $5,000 product, this $2,000 product. And then when I talk to them and I'm like, okay, wow, you've got this. And I'm like, so where are you at on these? And they're like, well, I mean, they're like willing to spend thousands of dollars on these things, but not willing to try AdWords for $200. It's just so blows my mind.
You got to do the work. There's no shortcuts. You got to do the work. Then when you learn it, you understand it, then you can apply it to different things. Because the beauty of the internet, things come and go so quickly that something that's making money today could be completely dead by tomorrow. But once you understand how to make money, you can apply it to the next thing.
Yeah. Right, but I mean, like what you're just saying is nothing replaces experience.
Nothing.
And that's the thing, like I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, there's been months I've lost, high 5 figures. And I like say that was the best education I could have ever got, because I learned like a lot of times it wasn't, I mean, the loss was not like a total loss. It was more like, okay, next month, here's what I have to do differently kind of thing. And sometimes I just make stupid mistake, but it's all learning experience. I mean, or the things that haven't worked out have either like helped me, make money in the future or help me personally, like almost like personal development. I don't know if you want to call that. I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff, but I know for a lot of people, they swear by it. But yeah, I mean, like it makes me look at like, okay, is this, like really for me? Is this, in this stage of my life too, we talked about that earlier. It's like, you really, when I was 10 years ago, I was in a much different position to take a lot more risks, do a lot more stuff than I am now, where now it's like you're solid. Where they say you put away most of your wealth from the time you're like 46 to 60. And so, which makes sense because you've got like your house paid for and other shit like that. So, or not, I don't know. But so anyway, well, dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. We'll do another one.
Yeah, whenever you want, man. I really value a lot as a friend. You're one of the really good guys in the industry, and just thanks so much for hanging on. And those out there watching, don't forget you'll see us on Below Deck.
Yeah, watch Below Deck.
Season 4. I think will be 3rd or 4th episode, but more to come on that. And actually, Gene, I'm gonna set up a webinar jam where people can like pre-register for our after show.
Cool.
And we'll just do an after show with me, you, John. I'm sure, I don't know, Robin, Ken, I'm sure they'll be in. There's one of us that will definitely not be in. And I will definitely make fun of her.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, one of us, I don't know. She's just weird. So whatever. So, all right. Thanks everybody for watching and listening as well. As always, if you want to watch, you can go to just keep an eye on shoemoney.com, or when you sign up for one of these, you can subscribe. We've got about 2,800 people that are subscribed now, and I know a lot of you don't show up for the live one, and that's totally cool because they just wait for the replays to be sent out. You can totally do that. They'll be if you go to shoemoney.com/ I think it's radio, not sure, if you click on the link, and then it'll take you to the iTunes stuff as well. And soon we will be putting the video in iTunes as well. I just got to make sure I can compress that correctly so it's not too large for your phone. Anyway, everybody, thanks so much. Thanks, Gene.
Good speaking with you as always.
Always, man. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.